What's up, my friends? Welcome back to another vlog. Just waking up here today on a cold Maine winter morning. Finally a nice winter morning where it's super cold. I love the very cold temperatures, any weather where I can put more layers on, and it's just, beautiful out here. It's gonna start snowing pretty soon, and it's just perfect weather. I love the winter time in Maine. I absolutely love it. So, feeling good today, of course, and what was on my mind today was Mr. Chris Stuckmann, the great movie reviewer, Mr. Chris Stuckmann, and I thought I'd share with you guys today why I'm still such a big fan of Chris after all these years, because I've been watching him for quite a while, and I wanted to kind of share with you guys like my thoughts on Chris Stuckmann just in general, and how inspiring he can be, and how even though he may not understand it, he can help people through a lot, even the bad times that they're going through. Now, in my particular circumstance, I was going through a really bad stretch of my life around 2015. Where I had I was in between jobs. I was working dead-end jobs, still working dead-end jobs, but at least I'm doing a little better for myself. But I was working really bad jobs at the time, and around 2015, I experienced kind of homelessness, I guess you could say, to where I lost the apartment I was living in due to a lot of, like I said, a lot of things that were going on in my life that were not going the right way. I ended up losing the apartment that I was in, and I had to spend some time actually just kind of like living in and out of motels, and just kind of, scraping together pennies and working a bunch of jobs, just to kind of like survive until I could get into another apartment and finally get myself stable again. Well, I started watching Chris Stuckmann really, I think, around 2000 and maybe like 2013 or something like that. I believe it was around 2013, but I didn't really watch him much. I knew about him. I watched a couple of his videos, so I was like, okay, he's a good movie reviewer or whatever. But then when my life kind of hit the fan, if you will, in 2015, while I was spending time in these various, motels by myself, kind of, drinking the night away at times, kind of just, suffering, I guess you could say, from that state where I was, that state of existence, that state of being that's kind of, it can be dark at times. It's very troubling, no one wants to be, living in motels, just barely scraping enough money together, and, looking back on their life kind of and reflecting and being like, man, like all these decisions that I made, what am I doing with myself, and, all of this stuff that I was dealing with. But what I found myself doing was I would sit down in my hotel room at night, and I would find myself watching, like binge watching, basically, Chris Stuckmann's videos, all the way back, years and years back, to like 2009, 2010, and then all the way up through. And I found myself literally sitting there almost every night, watching Chris Stuckmann's videos. And what I loved about Chris so much was that, Chris has said this a bunch of times about himself, is that he's a guy from Ohio that likes movies. He's just a kid from Ohio, like me, like you, like anybody else, that just loves movies and just happened to have the willpower, really, to stick with YouTube for all this time, because, Chris isn't a success story. He didn't gain 1 million subscribers overnight. That dude's been on YouTube since, like 2006, I think, 7, 8, somewhere around there. He's a veteran YouTuber. He's been around for a long time, 10 years plus. He's been building his channel, and just recently he got to 1 million subs, and I have so much respect for that. I really do, especially now being a YouTuber. And running 4 YouTube channels myself, I have so much respect for that, because I feel exactly what he's going through. Like on my Star Wars channel, I've had my Star Wars channel for 2 years, but I'm only at around like 2,000 subscribers, and I've seen other Star Wars channels that have created themselves, almost a year after me, and they've got like 20,000 subscribers and stuff like that, right? So I know what he must have gone through. I know that process. That how hard it is to build a channel literally from the ground up with barely any help from anybody, struggling to build a fan base every single day. Like, I get it, you know, I get what he was going through, especially nowadays. But back then, his videos just gave me comfort. You know, they really did. I just enjoyed listening to his opinions on all of these different movies. And before I started a Star Wars channel, I actually wanted to start a movie review channel. I was debating, you know, I was like, do I want to start a movie review channel first? But I got more caught up in writing Star Wars theory, so I just figured I'd do a movie review channel someday. And just recently, just a few months ago, 4 or 5 months ago or so, I just started my film review channel. And Chris Stuckmann remains, to this day, one of my biggest influences, because he's still just that guy from Ohio, just going to see movies. He hasn't changed. You know, I mean, his listening to his opinions on movies is one of my favorite things to do, and it's so inspiring. And part of the reason for that is because he was just there with me during that section of my life where I was experiencing so much turmoil. And I can always think back to that time and know that, like, Chris Stuckmann, above really anybody else, I mean, a lot of people that inspired me to start my Star Wars channel, Stupendous Wave, Star Wars Explained, being among the biggest. Even Chris Stuckmann inspired me a little bit more to start my Star Wars channel than even they did, even the powerhouses that they are. Because Chris has something that a lot of people on YouTube don't have, and that's passion. See, passion is missing from YouTube today. Chris is actually passionate about movies. He's not just turning on his camera and BSing people, you know, and just trying to suck off as much monetization as he can. He loves movies. When you hear him talk about movies, he doesn't just talk about the basics, he talks about everything. He talks about the lighting and the color palettes, the camera angles, and the execution, the structure. It's where I learn kind of like all my movie lingo, right? When I'm talking about structure and execution and all the stuff that I talk about in my movie reviews, it's like, you know, I kind of learned that stuff from Chris. You know, it's like I adapted that stuff from him. And I just love his style. You know, every time you turn on his videos, you know, he's got these great backgrounds, you know, all his movies and all his posters. It's appropriate that I'm doing this behind my Stranger Things poster today. One of my favorite posters in the world here. Just got this. And through all of that, he's remained exactly the same. He hasn't changed at all. He hasn't changed at all, and that's what I love so much about it. Is it like 10 plus years later, he's the same dude. He looks a little different, but he's the same dude, and he's just going through the motions, just doing his movie reviews, and it's fresh. It's fresh every single time. Still to this day. People are so interested to hear his opinions on movie, and for good reason, because he embodies that role of being just the guy from Ohio that likes movie. He likes to watch movies and likes to review movies just like the rest of us. But he's so good at what he does. He's so articulate at what he does and how he presents his videos, how he sets up his videos, structure and execution, right? And that's why I've remained basically one of his most loyal fans to this day, because I think that, you know, really when you look at it, you know, is there a better movie reviewer on YouTube? Could you say, you know, is there a better person to get all of your opinions on movies from? Because Chris has been such a strong voice, and not only has he been such a strong voice in the movie review community, but obviously, right, I'm a perfect example, like, he's been so inspiring to so many people. He thinks sometimes that just people watching his videos, right, just people watching his movie reviews, oh, that inspires me to start, you know, a film review channel, or that inspires me to, you know, write about movies, or go see more movies, or be more into movies, right? And I'm sure that happens all the time, and that's great. But I'm sure Chris, I'm not saying that he doesn't understand this, I'm sure he does understand this, but, you know, the other part of that is that he kind of saves people, you know, from kind of really, really dark places in their lives. I'm sure he's done it a lot in their career, because he did it to me, is that, like, he was there, you know, as my preferred company, and that's special to me, because my preferred company is selective. You know, and when I discovered Chris and started watching his videos, I knew it was something that I wanted to watch. And so many people feel exactly the same way as I do, and it's why he's accumulated such a large following. And I hope he understands that, is that, you know, his existence and his passion for his channel, that's what inspires people. It's not the video that you're making, it's the passion that's behind it, right? Like, that's what inspires people to start their channels, because I knew after I started watching Chris, I said, you know, even when I was there in that motel room, you know, you know what I'm gonna do? You know, it's like, if this kid from Ohio can start a movie review channel and accumulate hundreds of thousands of subscribers and have this nice meaty fan base to talk about movies and share his passion and love for movies and have this great discussion going on, I wonder if I can do that too. And that wonder soon turned into like resolve. It was like, you know what? Screw that. I don't wonder if I can do it anymore. You know what? When I get myself into my new apartment and I get myself stable again and I'm ready to sit down and actually start a channel, I'm going to start a channel. I am going to do it. You know, I'm going to do exactly what this guy is doing over here. I'm going to take something that I'm passionate about, Star Wars, right? And I'm going to make a channel and I'm going to start talking about theory. And here I am. And here I am. Now I'm stable. I'm still working. You know, I'm still working and scraping and getting by. You know, paycheck to paycheck. But you know what? Such is life, right? But here I am in my new apartment. Here I am with a pretty. You know what? I don't care that I've only got like 2,000 subscribers on my Star Wars channel. I would consider that successful. I'm happy with that fan base. That's a great fan base. I have so many great people that are part of my Star Wars fan base over there. I wouldn't trade a handful of them for 1 million subscribers. I really wouldn't, and I've learned that. That's something that I've learned over time. I learned to stop being greedy and stop looking at my subscriber count. Stop being so obsessive about things and stop focusing on that kind of stuff so much, and just be easy and let things evolve as they do. And it's just been it's been great. And now aside from my Star Wars channel, now I have 3 other channels. Now I'm also reviewing movies. I finally got my movie review channel up, and I'm doing that actively. Every weekend I'm going to see movies and I'm reviewing those now as well. And I've got my food review channel up. Now I'm doing food reviews spliced with some comedy, you know, which is going really great. I'm having so much fun doing that. And now I'm doing this channel as well. I'm vlogging. I'm just, you know, from week to week, I'm just giving my thoughts and my opinions on certain subjects, which I'm also having a great time doing. I'm just having a great time having discussions with people about every single topic that I'm interested in. Because, you know, as much as YouTube is a circus, there's really, really bright areas like Chris Stuckmann and channels like that out there that are still putting creative effort into their channels, and it needs more attention. But those are my thoughts today on Mr. Chris Stuckmann. I just wanted to share that with you guys because it includes, you know, a part of my life, a kind of darker, more stressful part of my life that Chris Stuckmann was kind of, you know, inadvertently a big part of. And it's important that he understands that, and also a lot of people understand that too, that they might be able to find some kind of peace and relaxation, help, stress relief, inspiration, certainly, just from picking a certain YouTuber to watch and enjoying their videos. So that's going to wrap it up for today's vlog, guys. I'm going to be back in just a second if I've got enough time here before I go to work to film another one. But I will see you guys back for the next vlog very soon. Please, as always, leave all of your thoughts and opinions down below in the great white void. And I'll see you guys back here for the next vlog very soon. Later.